The most dangerous words in medicine are not "it hurts." They are "it passed." A hand that went numb at breakfast and felt normal again by lunch. A few slurred words on the phone that you blamed on being tired. A moment in the kitchen where the room tilted, just for a second, and then steadied. Small things. Things that came and went and left you feeling almost foolish for noticing them at all. And that quiet relief that, "oh good, it stopped, I'm fine," is exactly the moment a stroke counts on. Because in a great many cases, the body sends a signal in the hours or days before the real event. Faint, easy to dismiss, and almost universally missed. I want to be honest with you from the very first minute because this is not a topic for exaggeration. Not every stroke gives a warning. Some arrive out of a clear sky. But when the body does send a signal beforehand, these are the signs it uses, and they are some of the most overlooked warnings in all of medicine. In 15 years of practice, I have sat with families after the fact, and over I have heard the same heartbreaking sentence. "You know, the day before, something strange happened, but we didn't think it was anything." Today I am going to make sure you never say that sentence. Subscribe and hit the like button right now, because the 7 signs I am about to walk you through could be the difference between a scare and a tragedy, for you or for someone sitting in the next room. But before a single sign, I need to give you the one rule that overrides everything else in this video, and I need you to hold on to it the whole way through. If you ever see, in yourself or in anyone near you, a face that droops on one side, an arm that drifts down or goes weak, or speech that suddenly slurs or stops making sense, you do not wait. You do not watch to see if it improves. You do not drive to the hospital yourself. You call your emergency number immediately. There is a simple word that holds this together, and it is the most important word you will learn today. Fast. F for face. A for arms. S for speech. T for time, because time is everything. With a stroke, brain tissue is being lost by the minute, and the treatments that can save it work best in the first hours. Calling for help fast is not an overreaction. It is the single most powerful thing a human being can do in that moment. Now hold that rule in your mind because everything else I tell you sits on top of it. Before I go into the 7 signs, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely read every answer. Where in the world are you watching this from right now? A town in the UK? A city in the States? Somewhere in Canada? The Philippines? Somewhere far from any of those? And how old are you? Drop your country and your age in the comments below. It shapes the videos I make next, and it tells me exactly who I am sitting with. One quick caution before you do. If you are feeling any of these symptoms as you watch, do not stop to type a comment. Stop the video, call for help, and come back to me afterward. Your life comes first, always. For everyone else, tell me, where are you watching from, and how old are you? Let me start with a person, because this is not really a lecture about brains and blood vessels. It is about people who looked perfectly fine the day before. I will call her Margaret. She was 73, sharp as anything, lived on her own, and liked it that way. Her daughter told me afterward that the day before, on the phone, Margaret had laughed and said, "I'm being silly, my hand went all pins and needles while I was doing the crossword. Dropped my pen twice, but it's fine now, it's gone." Her daughter, busy with her own evening, said, "Oh Mom, you've probably been leaning on it." And they both moved on. They both did what almost every loving family does. They reached for the ordinary explanation, because the ordinary explanation is comforting and the frightening one is unthinkable. That numbness in Margaret's hand was not from leaning on it. It was a transient ischemic attack, a TIA, what people sometimes call a mini stroke. A brief interruption of blood flow to part of the brain that resolves on its own, leaves no lasting mark you can see, and feels, afterward, like nothing at all. But it is not nothing. It is one of the loudest warnings the body is capable of sending. And here is the part I need you to carry with you. Of the people who have a TIA, a significant number go on to have a full stroke, and the risk is highest in the days right after. The warning and the event can be that close together. Margaret quotes, story, thankfully, did not end the way many do. The next morning, her daughter, still uneasy, called back to check on her, and this time Margaret's words were slightly jumbled. Her daughter did the right thing. She did not wait. She called for emergency help, and because she acted in time, Margaret got to a hospital while doctors could still do something about it. That phone call is why Margaret is still living on her own, still doing her crosswords. One day's difference, one refusal to assume it was nothing. So let me give you the 7 signs, and I am going to start with the famous ones, the fast signs, because they save the most lives, and then move into the 4 that seniors miss most often. Sign number 1, a sudden droop or numbness on one side of the face. Often you will notice it most clearly in a smile. One corner of the mouth lifts and the other stays still, or one eyelid sags. Sometimes it is just a strange numbness in the cheek or lips. The key word here, and for every sign on this list, is sudden, and the second key word is one-sided. A stroke usually simply affects one side of the body because it affects one side of the brain. Sign number 2. Sudden weakness or numbness in an arm or a leg, again on one side. The classic test is simple. Ask the person to raise both arms and hold them there. If one drifts downward or feels heavy or will not lift at all, that is a red flag. But it can be subtler than that. A coffee cup that suddenly slips from the hand. A leg that buckles for no reason. Margaret's pen dropped twice. Sign number 3. Sudden trouble with speech. This comes in 2 forms and both matter. The first is slurring, words that come out thick or clumsy, as if the mouth will not cooperate. The second is more easily missed, trouble finding words, jumbling them, or suddenly being unable to understand what someone is saying to you. A person mid-sentence who stops, confused, searching for a simple word they have used their whole life, that is your sign. Those 3, face, arms, speech, are fast. And if you see any one of them, the T kicks in. Time. You call for help that very second. You have just done more for that person than any home remedy on earth. Now here come the 4 that seniors and even their families tend to miss entirely. Sign number 4. A sudden change in your vision. This one fools people because we so easily blame our eyes themselves. A sudden loss or dimming of sight in one eye, like a curtain coming down. Sudden double vision. A patch of vision that simply goes dark or blurred without warning. People rub their eyes, assume they are overtired, and wait for it to clear. But sudden vision change, especially in one eye, can be the brain signaling that its blood supply is in trouble. Do not file it under, "my eyes are getting old." Treat it as the warning it may be. Sign number 5. A sudden, severe, or unusual headache. Not your familiar tension headache. I mean a headache that arrives like a thunderclap, the kind people describe afterward as the worst headache of my life, coming on within seconds, often with no obvious cause. This can be a sign of bleeding in or around the brain, one of the most serious kinds of stroke. If a headache like that appears, particularly alongside any confusion, vomiting, or stiffness in the neck, it is an emergency in its own right. Sign number 6. Sudden dizziness, a spinning sensation, or a loss of balance and coordination. This is one of the most dismissed of all, because dizziness feels so common, so harmless. But sudden, severe dizziness, especially when it comes with any of the other signs, or with a strange clumsiness, an unexplained stumble, or trouble walking in a straight line, can signal a stroke affecting the back of the brain, which controls balance. An older person who suddenly cannot stand steadily, who veers to one side, who falls for no reason they can explain, that is not always just getting older. Sometimes it is the brain raising its hand. And sign number 7, the one this whole video is built around, the sign that resolves. The symptom that comes and then goes away. Numbness that lifts, speech that returns to normal, vision that clears, dizziness that settles. This is the TIA, the mini stroke, and it is the single most missed warning in all of stroke medicine. For one cruel reason, it makes you feel better. It hands you an excuse. It rewards you for doing nothing. And that relief is precisely the trap. A symptom that comes and goes is not an all clear. It is a rehearsal. It is the body telling you in advance where the danger lies and begging you to act before the curtain comes up for real. So here is what I need you to do with that. Put it in the comments, not as a substitute for action, but as a way to teach the next person scrolling past. Which of these 7 signs did you not know was a warning of stroke? For most people, it is number 4, 5, 6, or 7. When you name it in the comments, you are quietly educating a stranger who reads it and finally understands. So tell me, which one surprised you? Now let me be very clear about what you do and do not do when you see these signs, because doing the wrong thing here costs lives just as surely as doing nothing. Do not wait to see if it passes. The whole tragedy of stroke is the waiting. Do not drive the person or yourself to the hospital. An ambulance is not just transport. It is treatment that begins on the way and a team that radios ahead so the hospital is ready. And please hear this carefully. Do not reach for an aspirin and assume you are helping. I know that advice circulates, but it can be dangerous because there are 2 very different kinds of stroke. One caused by a clot and one caused by bleeding. An aspirin can make a bleeding stroke far worse. You cannot tell which kind it is from the outside. Only a hospital scan can. So your job is not to treat it. Your job is to call for help immediately and let the people with the scanner decide. That single decision, call, don't treat, don't wait, is the right one every single time. Let me give you your plan. 5 steps, and the first 3 are about the moment itself. Step 1. Memorize fast and say it out loud right now. Face, arms, speech, time. If you ever see the face droop, the arm drift, or the speech slur, it is time. You call your emergency number that instant. Teach this word to everyone in your home tonight. Step 2. Treat any symptom that comes and goes as an emergency, not a relief. If numbness, slurred speech, vision loss, or sudden dizziness appears and then fades, do not feel relieved and move on. Get emergency assessment the same day. A TIA is a warning shot, and the hours right after it are when acting matters most. Step 3. Never wait, never drive yourself, never self-medicate. Call for emergency help. Stay with the person. Note the exact time the symptoms started. That time is gold to the doctors. And let the hospital determine what kind of stroke it is. Step 4. Work with your doctor to lower your risk before any of this ever happens. The two biggest, most treatable drivers of stroke are high blood pressure and an irregular heartbeat called atrial fibrillation, which can throw clots toward the brain. Both are quiet, both are findable. Ask your doctor to check them. Keep taking any medication they prescribe exactly as prescribed, and never stop it on your own. Step 5. Keep a simple written card. Your conditions, your medications, your emergency contact, in your wallet and by your front door. When seconds count and you may not be able to speak, that little card lets responders act faster on your behalf. It takes 10 minutes to make, and it can save your life. Here is the truth I want you to walk away with. A stroke is one of the few catastrophes that often knocks on the door before it breaks it down. The knock is quiet, a hand that went numb and came back, a few jumbled words, a moment the room spun. And the deadliest thing any of us ever does is feel relieved when it stops. From this day forward, you know better. When something comes and goes, you do not relax. You act. You call. You let the people with the scanner decide. If this gave you even one thing you did not know 10 minutes ago, do me a small favor and a big one for a stranger. Hit the like button so it reaches another family who needs to recognize these signs, and subscribe so the next lesson finds you. And tell me one last time in the comments, where are you watching from, and which of these 7 signs surprised you most? Every answer teaches the next person who scrolls by. Take these signs seriously. The day before is the day you still have a choice.